Hello and welcome again to River Valley Farm. Today we got something maybe not too outlandish but a little bit different. We have a Cub Cadet. I believe it's a ZTR 50 mower that I purchased with a supposed electrical problem a couple, 3 weeks ago now. Anyway, if you couldn't guess by looking at the vacant spot where the engine's supposed to be, it was in fact not an electrical problem. Anyway, the poor old Briggs & Stratton with 494 hours on it broke both the connecting rods. When the connecting rods broke, the camshaft bent, and as you could probably imagine, it didn't do the rod journal on the crankshaft very many favors at the same time. So anyway, I was considering rebuilding this engine, even with, so we can get to the right angle here, maybe you can see this big chunk missing out of the cylinder here. I was still considering rebuilding it even with that, up until I saw the crack here where the cam, that is your cam bushing basically right there, and it is also busted. So I have no idea the cause of this failure. I've seen that little failure. I've seen that particular failure one time before. Similar Briggs V-twin engine. I think that one might have been a 24 horse. This one was like 22 or something. Either way, not overly impressed that it was that junked out at what did I say? 494 hours. So, since my block is junk on that Briggs, I decided to take a different route. Now this is a Predator 708cc 22 horsepower engine that I purchased from Harbor Freight. We are going to install said engine into this little Cub mower. Online it says it's a direct bolt-in replacement for a Briggs & Stratton. Well, he's about to find out. Anyway, so I've got a little cleanup work to do. Need to clean these gaskets off. Get the engine separated from its crate here, and then see what happens after that. It comes with new exhaust gaskets here, several different carburetor jets, and a couple of gaskets for your carburetor, and of course an installation guide, wiring diagrams, I don't know, safety instructions, yeah, you know, the usual stuff. One thing that I got to check on is this electrical connector, which looks rather like what's already on the machine. That'd be really nice if that's the case. That way I don't have to splice any wires, and that looks pretty much identical to me. Excellent news. Alright, well, let me get some prep work going here, and then we'll see what we got to do. Okay, so due to some clearance issues, which I was planning on this anyway, we removed the muffler from the Predator engine, and we're going to use the factory Cub Cadet muffler in there. overall, I really like the looks of this thing. It's heavier. It's a lot more robust castings than the Briggs engine. The Briggs engine had stamped steel valve covers. All in all, the thing just looks honestly built better. Well, let's look right down here for a second. The air filter. Okay. The Briggs engines are made so that you have a filter that covers, you know, it's kind of rectangular shaped, and then it's got a big deal that goes around here so that it pulls in air up through this area and feeds it down into the carburetor. It works, but it's really easy to get stuff down in the carburetor, and then you got to clean it out, so on and so forth. So, as I said, all in all, I'm fairly impressed with this thing and its construction and simplicity of design so far. It's just a 2-cylinder vertical shaft engine, don't get me wrong, but still, it's somewhat of an improvement over Briggs & Stratton design anyway. I haven't seen a 2-cylinder Kohler in years, so I have no idea what those even look like. But anyway, now it's time to put that 92-pound hunk of aluminum and steel down in there, and then we'll see just how well everything lines up. Alright, so before I get completely carried away here, let's go over some of this. You can see the engine did bolt right in there. I used one thing different between this and the Briggs is the Briggs has threaded holes in the crankcase of the engine, so you just thread the bolts in and tighten them up. I had to use the bolts that were holding this one to its pallet in order to mount the engine. They are grade 8.8 metric bolts, so they're sufficient. That's like a grade 5 standard bolt. The next thing I want to cover was the throttle and choke cable here. The choke cable is plenty long enough on this particular mower. I could run it around the back and put it over here. The throttle cable I was not able to do that with. I had to run it this way around the front of the engine and hook it up to the throttle. This is throttle, this is choke. So we had to do that. Again, not a big deal. It's just, you know, playing different aspects to make everything work out at this point in time. My electrical connector on the back. It too is a direct fit, so that's nice. I gotta hook up the starter cable yet, and the battery cable, spool line, and we ought to be able, gotta put oil in it too yet, and then we ought to be able to fire this thing and see what's going to do before we get too much farther carried away with it. So yeah, I'll be right back with some more progress. Okay, so important to note, I did have to remove the Cub Cadet muffler completely from the machine to get the engine down in it, and then it does just go bolt right back up to all of its original bolt holes, so that's a definite plus. I kind of had my doubts as to how much of a direct bolt this engine really would be. I don't anymore. It is a direct bolt replacement for a Briggs & Stratton engine. So, yeah. Only thing I got left to do is hook up the battery cables, and we'll see what happens, I guess. As far as the engine's concerned, I've still got some work to do on the mower itself. I've got to put the main drive pulley on, stuff like that. Not a whole lot, so. Looks like it's been mowing. How? That's from where I blew all the crud out of the engine compartment back here earlier. Yeah, oh, okay. So anyway, let's hook up the battery cables and we'll see what happens after that. Okay, the time has come to try it, and yes, I did put oil in it. It holds slightly more than 2 quarts. So, let's see what happens.
How's that tractor?
Huh?
How's that tractor? Watch yours. That's kind of to be expected. As I said, we reused the old muffler off the other engine, so yeah, the thing's kind of loud, but it's a lawnmower, not a damn Cadillac. It'll be okay. You can see here the hours that the bridge engine let go at. But anyway, proof of concept did run. Burning paint off of it, I could smell that anyway. Probably because it's coming off of the roof and walls of my garage more than anything. But hey, alright, that's enough. Let's shut her down. It started, huh? Yeah, so explain to Mommy.
Okay, good.
And Mom said, hooray!
I'm glad she's happy. I know I am. But now I have a... Well, I really don't know what one of these things costs, but I would guess probably between $4,000 and $6,000 anyway, if you to go buy a new one. So, yeah. How long did it take? So, about 2.5 hours we have installed and now have a running engine in a 50-inch cut zero-turn lawnmower. Total cost of purchasing the mower and having the engine getting the engine in it, I gave $550 for the mower because, as I stated earlier, I thought it was a electrical problem. Come to find out it was not, as I showed earlier. And then the engine shipped to the door was $851, I think. I may be a little off on that a little bit. Either way, I don't remember. But anyway, runs. It should work just fine. I got to put the main drive pulley back on, hook up the belts. But yeah, pretty much we're ready to go mow grass. So let me get back to work and maybe we'll get a little test video on here. If not, I'll do a whole another video all about it.